Proud of our team. Obviously struggled in the first half on offense, but our defense did a great job keeping us in it. And then the second half, our defense just locked them down, and we got the running game going, and we made some big plays in the screen game with Alex Bear, and just a big gut check win. Really proud of our team, the way they played in the second half, and the way they kept fighting.
Hate to ask you a cliche question, but what did you tell them at halftime?
To win the game. We were going to run the football, we were going to shut them on defense, and we were going to win the game. We were going to find a way to win.
Will you talk about that first drive of the second half where you were pounding? Did that kind of set a tone in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, I thought in the first half that we ran the ball well, but you know they were loading the box and we were checking the passes, and I just thought we had to find a way to stay with the run game, and that's what we did in the second half. We just stayed with the run game, and our backs made some people miss, and then that set up some great opportunities in the throw game and the screen game.
Can you talk a little bit about all three of your runners? Because, I mean, it wasn't just one guy who had your running game going.
No, I mean, Anton was going, Pettigrew ran well, Jamel had some nice runs. We have really good depth at tailback. We really do. And at some point, we were thinking about getting Gibbons in there when, you know, Anton went down with a foot sprain.
Do you know what his status is at the...
John, you can ask me Wednesday, and if I knew, I wouldn't tell you.
Duly noted.
Okay.
What about the offensive line, too, though? I mean, did you challenge them specifically at the half?
I asked them, coaches are making an adjustment. I went to the O-line. I go, can you guys run the ball? Yes, coach. I go, we're run the second half. We're putting it on your back. You win us the game. And those guys responded great.
After seeing these guys put up video game numbers, did you really expect the defense to shut them down like they did?
Well, you know, if you notice, our defense is kind of ranked high too.
Oh yeah, very definitely.
So, I mean, that was it. We challenged the defense. That it's the #1 offense in the conference against the #1 defense, and you know that was a matchup that we had to win. And I think our guys won it. They responded great, covered them. You know, they're going to make plays. The nature of what they do, they're too talented. But we didn't give up big plays. And as the game wore on, I really thought our pass rush started becoming very effective.
You say that their history is to make plays, but in the third and fourth quarter they weren't making plays. Was that just pass rush, or what was that?
Well, it was a lot. I mean, you know, in the second half we went mostly with a 3-man rush. So we got a good D-line. You know, when Chris Jones and Teddy O and Kendall Montgomery had a sack there. So it was a, you know, those guys were getting pressure with 3, and if you can get pressure with 3, it's a lot easier to cover people when you're dropping 8.
What you struggled to stop their running game in the first half. They also got, and that was also a factor of having not enough guys in the box. How did you guys?
Not really. We had enough guys in the box. We took some really bad angles.
Fair enough.
I mean, he bounced some plays that we had unblocked guys that took poor angles, and part of it is that back is fast. He is really fast, and so I think our guys took angles that they thought would be good, and he just outran them. He's a very good football player.
How did you slow him down in the second half?
Well, I think our guys got used to the pace of the game, and you know, we started playing more of a 3-man line, and we were keeping more edge players that were splitting the difference between the end and the slot, so less balls were bouncing.
You talked about Montgomery, you talked about him last week. He gets that sack. Just the emotion that his teammates showed. You just talk about that. I mean, they just mobbed him.
They love Kendall. You know, Kendall has worked really hard. He's very well liked. He's very serious about football, and he's at a position that we have depth. And I think our kids are genuinely happy to see him have success.
Will you talk a little bit about the first half?
Do I have to?
Well, there's one in particular, the timeout just before halftime, before their field goal. Did you call it? Did they call it?
I called it.
Can you talk about the reasoning?
Yeah, because we saw how they lined up, and we weren't in. You know, I knew they were going to get a playoff, and we saw how they lined up, and we weren't in the coverage call we wanted to be in. You know, we made a call when there was 20-some seconds in the game, thinking that they would have 2 or 3 plays, and as they let it go to 4 seconds, now it was only going to be 1 play. So we had a play thinking it's 3-play defense, and when it became 1-play defense, we wanted to switch the call. So that's why, you know, I knew they weren't going to let it go to 0. So we just burned it to make sure that if they did go for it, we were in the right call.
Did you have any second guessing of you after they went for the field goal and made it? Was there a second guess?
No, because he was calling the timeout. I mean, I saw him over there you know, and he was going to use it. So, you know, I didn't want to give up a touchdown. You know, if they kicked the field goal and got 3, I didn't want to be down 14-0 because we were in the wrong coverage.
And will you talk a little bit about field position? This was the wildest game in that sense because your field possession in the first half was just brutal. And fourth quarter, by my estimation, they didn't run a single play on your side of the field.
Yeah, I mean, I thought our special teams was better today. I thought we punted the ball better. You know, those are things you see on the stats. I haven't. You know, you're right. I mean,
but I mean, you saw how wild the field position was.
Yeah, in the second half, we almost always started with the ball near the 50 or on their side of the 50, and obviously that helped.
And well, how much of a problem was it in the first half, especially when you have 3 drives inside the 6?
Well, it's, you know, it's hard to go. The percentages of scoring when you're inside the 10, we show the chart to our players every year. It's low, and especially when you're not making big plays in the pass game, which we aren't right now.
Anything else?
Let's go.
Thanks, Coach.